said that don't mean I can rough it up, rough it up, rough it up. That don't mean you can back it up, back it up, back it up. I go make your knees buckle and my name you.
Hello everyone, welcome to Intrinsic Archives. My name is Verlaine, but you can call me V. If you are new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. In this channel, we do beauty discussions and lots of commentary. So if you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and like and comment down below. If you're feeling the vibe, go ahead and subscribe. Show your girl some love. And hit that subscribe button down below. And don't forget to follow me on my social media, Coffeebeanvee. Okay, I'm coming to you guys, no makeup, edges looking crazy, still wearing scrubs. I just got on the wrong side of YouTube and I watched one particular video that got on my last doggone nerves.
Cedar Rapids, Iowa, a small town with a population barely big enough to fill the Los Angeles Coliseum, is now at the center of a salacious sex scandal. A 24-year-old beautiful substitute teacher at this high school admits to hooking up with one of the students, having sex with him more than 100 times. Mary Beth Haglin is a pretty teacher who always wanted to instruct children. But within just months of achieving her goal, Mary Beth threw it all away by giving one student some very private lessons.
What type of perverted person are you? I want to know right now.
An angry father confronting the woman who allegedly sexually abused his 13-year-old son.
You are a monster. You are a pedophile. You're a child molester. Do you understand me?
On the other end of that phone call, Brittany Zamora, their son's 6th grade teacher at Las Brisas Academy Elementary School in Goodyear, Arizona.
Why do you say that?
Oh, see, I'm a lot smarter than you.
Not long after, Zamora was arrested.
Officer has a body cam on him as well.
The 27-year-old pulled over and put in handcuffs, charged with sexual abuse after allegedly carrying on a secret relationship with one of her students.
Laura, did you have an inappropriate relationship with a 13-year-old boy?
It was a relationship that started in scandal, and more than 20 years later, it's reportedly coming to an end. Mary Kay Letourneau made headlines in 1997 when, as a 34-year-old 6th grade teacher, she was arrested for having a sexual relationship with one of her students, victimization, who was just 12 when it started. She spent 7 years in prison for child rape, but married victimization in 2005. They have 2 daughters together.
That just doesn't sit right in the spirit about this. There's so many reasons why this is wrong, inappropriate, disgusting. There's just so many reasons. And the fact that I'm finding comments even defending them is like, first and foremost, if you did not understand what is going on, especially with that last specific video, it is essentially a 33-year-old school teacher who had an affair, who had a sexual relationship with a minor. I believe he was 11 or 12 in 6th grade. She ended up getting pregnant by him. She went to jail for only a couple of years, got out, got pregnant again, 2 times. She had a child by this child, minor. And then they put her in prison for about roughly 7 years before she got out once more and they actually got married. By the time she got out of jail the 2nd time and for them to get married, he had turned 21. There's so many things to unpack. There's so many things to bring up. My head is swirling. I don't like this. I don't understand this. It makes me so angry. First and foremost, there is a number of reasons why this is completely inappropriate. I cannot begin to tell you the power imbalance there is when it comes to an older adult and a minor in any type of romantic relationship. There is a huge power imbalance due to the fact that this adult has power, some type of authority. In this case, these women are school teachers, a place where you are supposed to bring your child or send your child where they should be safe, secured, getting their education. And typically teachers are individuals in a lot of children's lives, who make a difference, or who makes some type of statement in their life, and here she is abusing that trust. That's one of the biggest things that gets under my skin. A teacher is supposed to protect and honor and give education to the child, not sleep with them. That's one. Two, you ever notice that most of these women only get a couple years of jail time? Only a couple years. Now, had a man, an older man, did the exact same thing, let an older man sniff away of a little girl, jail time. Not even, no question about it, no discussions, nothing. And yet these women actually go ahead and have full-on relationships or affairs with these children, these minors, these young people. They're kids. That's what they are. They're kids. At the end of the day, they are old enough to be their parent. We're only looking at 3 to 5 years in prison, 5 to 7 years in prison. That's ridiculous. But let a man have done that, it would have been game over.
Deborah LaFay was 23 years old, had a sexual relationship with the 14-year-old student, only 2 counts of lewd battery, and received 3 years of house arrest, 7 years of probation, and was forced to register as a sex offender for the rest of her life. Abby Jane Swager, 28 years old, had a sexual relationship with a range of children, some as young as 14, the oldest was 17 years old. She was accused of 39 separate charges, including providing crack cocaine to the teenagers at some of these hotels that she would bring them to. In 2009, she finally pled guilty to 11 of the 39 charges against her and was only sentenced 3 to 6 years in prison, followed by the 36 years of probation. Pamela Roger Turner, 27-year-old teacher, had a sexual affair with someone who was 13 years old. The first time she was arrested, she was only sentenced 9 months in prison. She was rearrested again in 2006 for sending the same student sexual pictures and videos of herself, thus causing 7 years in prison. Nicole Long, 29-year-old English teacher who slept with a 17-year-old student male. By the time the charges came to light, she was already 7 months pregnant, and unfortunately, it was never revealed whether or not the student or her husband was the father of the child. She was only sentenced 45 days in prison.
It's not. It really is not okay. It just kind of goes to show how not only the justice system doesn't necessarily care about men's rights. Ooh, I'm about to ruffle some feathers. I really feel like our society as a whole not only doesn't care about the victims, whether it's the Me Too Act, whether it's all these other different organizations and victims coming out saying, hey, I was abused, both women and men. We tend to look at the victim, even with the whole Chrissy Teigen situation. We look at the victim like, so what were you doing? How did you get yourself in that situation? When we talk about a rape victim, what is the first things a police officer typically asks? What were you wearing? Did you provoke them? Maybe you gave them different signs. It's like, what? I don't care if the person was booty naked the way God slapped them on this earth. In no way, shape, and or form does anyone have the right to rape another individual or to conduct this type of behavior. It's unacceptable and it's disgusting. And for some odd reason, our society never protects the victim. I understand there are individuals who lie. There's no question about that. There are lots of individuals who lie. I don't understand what it is that a 33-year-old can, what is it that you guys are talking about to an 11-year-old? There's again, a power imbalance. And even in this day and age, we see that so many times with the James Charles situation, with the whole Chrissy Teigen conversation that's happening right now on YouTube. Definitely watch D'Angelo Wallace's video. He broke it down so clearly. I don't understand what it is about these. It's just these power imbalances, and we're constantly talking to the victim. What is it about you that made you go for them? What is it about you that made you fall? No, we need to keep the adults accountable for what they did, because at the end of the day, the child is innocent. The child is innocent. They don't know what they're doing, and when they think they know what they're doing, later down in life, 20, 30 years, they may realize, wow, like this was wrong. This was a terrible situation. And there's so many examples of this.
It also tends to make you wonder, why is it exactly that most of these women either got away or only got little time in jail or probation? And I feel like one of the reasons why most of these women were able to get lesser sentences compared to the men is because we typically view women as soft, as nurturing. We don't typically see these women as threats. So when it comes to these sentences, they're gonna get lesser charges, as well as they're very beautiful women. We tend to think of it as lesser than. When it comes to these situations, a lot of these kids don't realize they are being molested. A lot of these kids don't realize they are being abused or being taken advantage of, because to them, as young boys, they're like, wow, this is the hot teacher and she likes me. It's almost like this mind manipulation. These kids are thinking like, this is the best thing that could ever happen to me, but in real life, they're actually being objectified. They're actually being taken advantage of by these adults. And in the justice system, a lot of people don't tend to look at men as victims. When we talk about rape charges, when we talk about men being sexually assaulted or abused, a lot of people laugh at that. They say, how can a big man like you let this little girl beat you up? Or how does a guy get raped? You probably liked it. They don't take it seriously. They don't take this type of abuse seriously. So it's even more difficult for young boys or for young men to speak up and say, hey, this isn't right. Or for them to realize that they were sexually molested or they were abused or they were taken advantage of. Because a lot of them still to this day won't realize that.
Nowadays have gotten smarter, and the fact that social media is such an important part in our society, and children younger and younger and younger are having a cell phone or having social media, which is kind of beyond me. I'm not here to judge anyone's parenting, because at the end of the day, nowadays technology, social media, they become such an increment part of our daily lives. But when I was growing up, I didn't have a cell phone until I was in high school. It's mind-boggling when I see children in elementary school with full-on iPhones and iPads and TikToks, Instagrams, Snapchats. It's like, what is it? Why do you need one? You don't need one, because at the end of the day, as much as parents may try to monitor their child, kids will always find a way. That's just how kids are. They're gonna find a way. There are so many instances when we talk about pedophiles pretending to be children, talking to other children, grooming them to essentially get them in their clutches. And it's not always this like creepy, scary type of situation. Sometimes it's just them watching them. It's these adults researching these children, seeing that they're vulnerable, and then there are certain children that are vulnerable. It's either they don't have maybe a father in their household, or they're being abused at home, or they just feel lonely. We already know preteens have this pre-notion that everything is the end of the world, and that's okay, because everyone goes through that motion. Everyone goes through that phase. But that is one of the most dangerous times, unfortunately, because that's when predators attack. That's when they see that they're vulnerable. They see that they need love and affection. And that's when they go in. I cannot believe that they just innocently fall in love with an 11-year-old. That doesn't make any, that just doesn't sit well with me. It just, something about that just doesn't sit well in my spirit. It just doesn't sit well. It really is scary once you think about the dangers, not only on social media, dog, but now in your own schools. You can't even trust the teacher no more. But yes, guys, that is my video. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. I know this video was a little bit on the longer side. I would love, 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 love to hear your comments down below. What do you guys feel about this particular discussion in regards to pedophilia, in regards to men and their struggle with it, and how we talk about little girls, but we don't necessarily shed enough light for the little boys who are also being abused in the school systems, on social media, just the overall arc of sexual abuse and pedophilia in our society today, and victim blaming. Constantly blaming the victim's full experience, because at the end of the day, it's a traumatic experience for them. They are suffering because of this. I would love to hear everyone's discussions and thoughts down below. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and please give me a like and a thumbs up, share it with your family, friends, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.